Hey guys, it's Dev. Welcome back to my channel. It is Hallows Eve, obviously, All Hallows Eve, however you say it, the day before Halloween. So that means at least one more Halloween type video. I thought I would finish off this year's Halloween with another spooky story time. This story time is actually, for me, a lot scarier than my last. It's very recent. I'm a lot more scared to talk about this than I am the other one. A few weird things have happened since this has happened, but you know, I've just chosen to ignore it. I've been completely fine. Let me just like cut to the chase. I think there's a ghost living in my mirror, long story short, or something like that. Basically, what had happened, this maybe happened like 3 months ago. It was just a normal night. Me and Zephyr had already been here for about a month, you know, a couple weeks. And everything was normal. I was sleeping in the complete dark, no issues, like completely comfortable, had no problems, wasn't hearing anything weird, wasn't seeing anything. This happened like completely out of the blue. So one night, it was like 11 o'clock maybe, I made a late dinner. I hadn't like eaten anything all day. I was super hungry, but I wasn't like really tired yet. I made myself like an instant dinner in the microwave, something quick and easy, and I came into bed and turned off all my lights. I kept my fairy lights on. I have fairy lights around the bars of my bed. I didn't have my LED lights around the doors or anything. I didn't have my extra lamp, so this was literally my only source of light besides my ring light. I had my ring light off. So the room was like comfortably lit, very dim, the way I had it every single night. I haven't even taken a bite of my food. I put it down next to me and I opened my laptop to turn on like something to watch, right? I don't even get a bite of my food. Sitting there and I just feel really strange out of nowhere. And I sit there for like 5 minutes, just totally like, I just go out of it randomly, right? It was a super weird feeling. It was just completely like zoning out, but not zoning out, if that makes sense. I can't explain. My mind was just like completely blank. And I caught myself just staring at Nabby, and she was staring directly at me. And I was just staring like into her eyes, and just something about that was making me feel uneasy. But that uneasy feeling is what kind of made me snap out of it. So I snapped out of it and stopped staring and just, you know, continued to look for my show. And then I'm starting to like look around in my room, right? And I didn't have much set up. I didn't have Nabby's doghouse. Like I said, I didn't have my decorations up. I didn't have, the only decoration I really had up was my painting and my lights on my bed. My desk, everything was still here, but like my room wasn't like done, you know? It was pretty empty. All of a sudden, I absolutely just hated everything about my room. It was more of a sense of like, I hated what I've done with the place, if that makes sense. It wasn't just more of, oh, maybe I shouldn't have done this. It was more of, oh my, like I went into panic. Like I actually started to panic about the way my room looked. That's super strange because I love my room. My room is my safe place. It's comfortable. It's very cozy. I like to keep my environment, my personal environment, very safe and warm and comfortable. In my subconscious, I'm like having this internal mental panic about how my room looks, and just I hate the way it looks. Out of nowhere, from thinking like that, I just start to all of a sudden think about everything about myself that I hated. I was thinking just really terrible things about myself, and I just hated everything about my life. I just was like, oh my gosh, like what am I, like who am I? Like it was just not, this is why it's so uncomfortable to talk about, because it was just very all over the place, and so I can't even explain it. I really can't. And I just remember my thoughts. After that, what am I, dude, am I really gonna put this on YouTube? Like, holy crap, like, I don't know if you can see my hands are like, ooh. But anyway, I get to the point where like, I almost start like crying. Like I almost physically started crying, but I kind of snapped out of it again. Keep in mind, I still have not touched my food like once. I have not taken a single bite. I haven't eaten all day. Eventually I just shut my laptop and didn't even try to look for anything anymore. Just like the thoughts that were running through my head like freaked me out so much. I just tried to go to sleep. I was just like, I want to go to sleep, and I just roll over, pull the covers over me, and attempt to go to bed. What's really odd about this was all probably like all these crazy emotions and crazy thoughts, and the switch up from my room to just hatred of myself happened within 5 minutes. This whole experience felt like an eternity, but it was literally maybe like 8 minutes long. Anyway, I'm turned over and I have my blankets over me. I'm laying on my left side right here on this side of my bed. So I'm laying right here. I have my blanket over my face. I sleep kind of on my face. I really bundle up when I sleep. I don't like anything to be free. I like my blanket to be tucked under my feet. It's just like a secure thing, a security thing. Anyway, I'm laying there. I'm about to fall asleep. Oh my gosh. Out of nowhere, I just hear I hear something in my ear. I hear like a cough almost, like a physical, like an actual like sound, like a human, like it came from a human mouth. What freaked me out so much is not only that I heard it, I felt it. Ooh, I felt it inside my ear. I immediately opened my eyes and I sit there for a minute with my eyes open. I'm laying down and it's just dead silent. I sat up. I just kind of looked around and nothing was wrong. I looked down at Navi and she was sleeping, and what kind of was like, animals are supposed to be really reactive to that kind of stuff, which brings up another point that I'll get to later that really freaks me out about this whole thing. She wasn't being reactive to anything. I woke her up and I told her to come get on the bed with me because it just freaked me out so much. And I was like, maybe I was just half asleep. I was not half asleep, but I was trying to convince myself I was. I was just trying to convince myself that maybe I was half asleep. So maybe I kind of heard that noise like in my sleep kind of. I was not asleep or anywhere close to it. At this point, I am literally about to have a heart attack, but I'm literally just, I'm like, okay, I'm fine. I'm literally fine. Like nothing is wrong. I'm just telling myself that over and over and over. And I looked down at Navi and I woke her up and told her to come on the bed with me. I don't normally let her on the bed because she sheds a lot and that's a pain in the butt. But that night I was willing to let her sleep with me. The Navi hair was not a problem that night. After I sat up, I asked her to come on the bed with me, and I'm literally sitting, I'll show you the exact position I was sitting in. I was sitting like this. I had the blanket over me, right? And I had one arm here and one arm on this side. I asked Navi to come up on the bed and I hit this spot right in front of me, right here, and she jumps up. And as she's jumping up, I'm just kind of like calm at this point because Navi's acting normal, and honestly, she was part of the reason I was calming down this whole time. Ooh, I'm gonna cry. So this is a really scary part. I'm fine, by the way. I'm totally fine to talk about this. I wouldn't talk about it if I didn't want to. It's just overwhelming, so it gets the tears going. I can't comprehend it. That's why my eyes are watering. But I'm looking around, I'm just casually sitting there, and I just kind of glance up at the mirror, right? So I'll show you what my mirrors look like in a moment. I glance up at the mirror. Right as I look at it, I don't take my eyes away. Like I kind of like looked up and stopped, you know? I look up and I see an arm sticking out, kind of like, I can't even put my arm in the position it wasn't in the mirror. I just see an arm just move, like so smoothly, just the smoothest I've ever seen anybody move, like besides a dancer, you know, like just move out of the reflection. What was also super weird about the arm was completely like black and gray. It was like a splotchy black and gray hand, and I also had really long nails on at the time, really long neon colored nails on. This hand had no nails and it was also black. And also what was different about my reflection is that my bed has these lights on it, so even though the rest of the room was dark, my bed around me, the whole top and behind me, is completely lit up, and in my reflection I was lit up. I saw the hand move and I immediately just sat there for a second trying to comprehend, or maybe like 10 seconds. I sat there just staring and trying to like, did I just see that? I hadn't started freaking out really yet. I eventually lifted up my arms because my arms were on the bed the whole time, and I was like, did I move my arms? I lifted up my arms, couldn't even get my arms to appear in my reflection with the way I was sitting. I put my arms back down and I just stared at Navi, and she's just looking at me. I immediately felt my heart like feel like it was going to explode, and I kid you not, I have never ever felt physically alone in a room, but not alone. I felt something literally come towards me and sit in the spot next to me on the bed. I actually felt like there was a physical person, like, you know, when somebody's sitting right in front of you, I felt like somebody was sitting right in front of me in this like spot next to me, about right here. I couldn't move. I'm sorry, I'm sweating talking. I couldn't move. I kind of snapped out of it. I built up the courage, ran right out of my room. I was like, Navi, come on. We both ran out of the room. That is when I went into actual freak out mode, and I actually started pacing the living room for a good minute, like a full minute. I was pacing back and forth crying. Keep in mind, I had not had a single bite to eat all day long, and I didn't get to touch my food next to me. I got the feeling that I was gonna be sick. Obviously wasn't gonna run back in here to my bathroom, and Zephyr's bathroom is out by the kitchen, so that was the closest place I could go. I ran into her bathroom and puked my brains out for a good 10 minutes, just non-stop throwing up for 10 minutes. It was horrible. My stomach hurt so bad after that. Like, just my stomach muscles were like cramping after that. I was still crying, still hyperventilating. I was also shaking. Like, my whole body was physically shaking. Like, I was literally shook. Zephyr and Griffin were asleep in her room, and I start knocking on their door. Nobody's answering. I keep knocking because there was no way I was coming back in here. I was still shaking. Griffin opens the door half asleep. He looks at me and immediately kind of wakes up because I am just like a mess. It looks like I just got ran over by a truck, you know. I'm red and sweaty. I've got tears all over my face from throwing up and crying and being freaked out. Zephyr woke up and she's like, what's wrong, what's wrong? And I told her, I was like, please, like, you have to believe me. You're not gonna believe me. I don't know what just happened. I'm shaking. I told her everything that happened, and she just sat there, and bless her heart, she believed me. She believed me because I felt like a crazy person. Still kind of do. She sat awake and talked with me for a while. Gosh, she's like the greatest friend in the world. They pulled the couch cushions off the couch, and I actually slept on the floor of her bedroom for the night with my Switch. I took some sleepy time tea, eventually fell back asleep from exhaustion, probably, because I was very alert. Before they brought the couch cushions in for me to sleep, we were sitting and talking, and what makes this whole thing even more surreal, pulls out some of her crystals, because she has a collection of all these protective crystals, which is really awesome. She told me to pick out a few of them. She gave me a stone for peace, like peace and like quiet, like serenity, whatever it was. I don't remember the name of the stones. I'll have to ask her. She let me pick 2 more on my own, and she told me to, you know, feel for the ones that, you know, stuck out to me that I feel like I would need, right? Of course, you know, we've all heard that before. Grab a stone that just feels like it means something to you. You feel like you have a connection to it, you know? And I've done all that before, so I was just kind of like, oh yeah, you know, I'm desperate right now. I'll do it. I'll play along, because I don't necessarily think crystals would have that much power, especially if it's only a little one this big. But I was desperate, so I was like, give me anything, please. So I picked the next 2, and I'm not really feeling anything. She was like, maybe pick them up and hold them in your hand and see which ones maybe feel a little warmer. So I started picking them up and trying to feel, and I really wasn't feeling a temperature change. I kind of was feeling silly to myself. I picked up one. I was like, maybe this one's a little warmer. I don't know if it's just my hands heating up from all of the like clenching the rocks. The first one I picked was actually a stone for anxiety and calming anxiety, which is really interesting, and that made me feel better. At first I thought maybe that was a sign to be like, okay, maybe I saw something that I didn't really see. She tells me to pick a 3rd one. I'm reaching over and I'm actually just like picking them up like this, one by one. I start cracking a joke to her about how, oh, I'm not really feeling anything. My luck, I'm gonna pick the wrong stone. I picked this one up. It's called like a blood something, and literally I stopped in mid-sentence because when I picked up this stone, I literally felt like a tingle, like a ring of tingling around my wrist. It just felt like a bracelet. It's like something tingling around my wrist as soon as I picked it up. And it stopped me mid-sentence because I actually felt it. And I immediately asked her, I was like, what's this one? She searched it up. It was like a blood something, and I don't remember the name, I'm sorry. That stone specifically was meant to protect against like negative entities or something like that, or negative energies, bad things. And that immediately, like, I immediately started to tear up again. I started shaking again. It was just, and I slept with them under my pillow that night on her floor. You know, several weeks went by, nothing has happened since. I've only told a couple of other people about it. It was just so scary, and I feel like I sound like a crazy person talking about it. It's not, I don't feel like it's an as believable story. Nothing really has happened since. I'm really hoping nothing continues to happen. There have been times where I have been home alone and I have gotten that eerie feeling that I got sitting on the bed, like that negative feeling. I just left the house for the night and I spent the night somewhere else. That's only happened 2 other times though, and not any time recently. Bonus for you guys, one of my TikToks actually has an orb that flies around my head. The funny thing about that TikTok is that I took 2 takes of it. The first one is the one I posted, and I actually filmed the second one, and I didn't even like the second one, so I just went with my first option. And in the first option, you can see an orb literally circle my head. There's no dust, there's no bugs in my room, nothing like that as shown on camera. And I still have the draft of the second one, and there's nothing in sight. It is actually pretty freaky, and that's also one of the days I had to leave the house and spend the night somewhere else because I started to get that weird feeling. And I didn't even notice the orb in my TikTok until like 2 days later. If you want, I can post on my extra Twitter both of the TikToks so you can see there's no dust pieces flying around in either of the videos, and you can see that my first video definitely has it and then my second video doesn't. No reflecting, nothing. So that is my spooky story. I don't even know what I'm gonna title this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope I explained it okay. This video was actually really hard for me to film. I did pause a lot during this. I really just don't even know how to explain it, and now I'm telling the world. Maybe somebody can tell me what that is and what it means. But yeah, this video was kind of hard to film because I kept pausing a lot and losing my train of thought. But yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. This was an intense video for me to film. My heart was racing this whole time. Don't forget to leave a like if you enjoyed this video, and please turn on my post notifications so you know when I post, and also subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Be sure to follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, and don't forget that I also stream weekly on YOUNOW and TikTok. Be there and watch that. Come chat with me. I hope everybody has a fun and safe Halloween, whether you're spending it with your close circle of friends or you're spending it inside, quarantined and cozy, watching scary movies. I hope it's a fun Halloween, and dress up for me anyway. I love you guys, and happy Halloween. See you in the next video. Bye.